asking themselves, why do they feel so overwhelmed? And this is really because we've been carrying too much for too long without having that space to integrate what we are experiencing. So the pace has just been too much. And modern life just gives us so much constant information, decisions, and emotional input, and we often don't have any space to integrate any of it. So it's just one thing after the next. So we get on this kind of a cycle. And we actually need to create that space actively. So we just need to recognize that we have to put down our devices and want to have a space away where we can turn our attention from being outward into being inward. So it's really wanting to take care of ourselves and to notice that when we come back to ourselves, even briefly, our system can begin to recalibrate. And this is because we are allowing it to do that. So when we can have a pause, when we can come back to ourselves, when we can recognize the need to do this to prevent us getting into this cycle of overwhelm, that's when we can really give our bodies what they need just to restore naturally to those restorative rhythms that our body knows, and that we can just trust in that. I often hear people saying they find it hard to slow down. And why is this? It's really because many of us have learned to associate slowing down with falling behind. We just have too much to do, so we can't allow ourselves to stop. And we might be letting somebody else down, or we might be losing momentum. So even when we know that we want to rest, our body kind of stays on this alertness. And slowing down isn't a choice. It's really about relearning. It's about allowing ourselves to have these moments where the body can feel it's okay to pause. And that's why when we can come back to our breath, come back to our body, we can be in the now, we can be in presence, we can turn our attention inward. Our bodies are always in this present tense. So even when our thoughts may be time traveling back to the past or looking ahead to a future that's unknown, when we can come back to the body, we are actually coming back to this present moment. And our bodies then understand that we're in this moment. They feel this alertness. And this is when they can actually find their own natural rhythms themselves. So it's just allowing natural processes of the body to operate. And this is when we start to recognize that we need to take a pause, and then we can allow ourselves to do it. And this is when our bodies can actually bring us back into a balance that has been missing. People also ask me, what if I don't feel calm when I pause? So this is kind of a common thing where people think they need to immediately feel calm when you pause. But when we finally give ourselves that time to stop, often we only then realize how much we actually have been holding back, how tired, how emotional, how restless we actually feel. So it doesn't mean that the pause has created this. It means that this has been underneath, waiting to be seen and connected to. And so when we can do this and we can realize that well-being isn't about feeling calm, it's actually about feeling connection. And even if that feeling of connection brings up something that's uncomfortable, it's the fact that we can connect to it, we can recognize it, we can relate to it, we can allow it, we can be curious about it. And just by doing that, we can actually allow it to pass on. So emotions are when our feelings are actually moving. So when we can allow them to move, they will no longer take up that space that they had, and we will be able to integrate the experience of actually putting our attention on them and understanding why we feel that certain way that we do. How can I stay grounded when everything feels uncertain? This is a great question. Because grounding doesn't come from certainty, it comes from presence. So when we can feel this overwhelm or anxiety, when the future feels unclear, then our bodies are looking for something immediate and within reach, within sight or within touch or within our senses. So, our breath or some kind of touching of the ground or the earth. So this helps to come back because it just gives that level of stability, and the body then can take that signal of stability and restore itself back to presence. Another question is, given all that's going on in the world today, it's hard to look away and focus on my own well-being right now. How can I change this? So what's really important to know is that caring for your well-being isn't something you only have time for when things are going well. It's foundational self-care. So when you feel this disconnection from everything, it's going to cost you more energy. Everything's going to feel a bit harder. Relationships, work, decisions. So coming back to yourself and looking after your well-being just allows you to show up for yourself with more care, clarity, and resilience. So it's really worth it to put the investment in. And well-being isn't about withdrawing from the world. It's about staying connected to yourself while living fully within the world and all this craziness. Another connection is, why do I feel so disconnected? So feeling disconnected isn't something that happens suddenly. It just develops slowly as our attention is always being pulled outside, away from ourselves, time and time again. And so we just kind of forget how to keep checking in with ourselves. It becomes something that we don't do habitually. And because we're not doing it, it's causing us to feel this disconnection. So this practice of coming back, giving ourselves small moments of pausing and presence and noticing, connecting to our breath, connecting to our senses, we can actually create that connection mindfully. And when we can do that, it becomes then a habit that we actually can feed every day. So it starts to be sort of self-perpetuating. Once we get back into the habit of connecting to ourselves, it's something that we're going to be looking to do as the day goes on, because our bodies are already in tune with that need for connection, and they're going to signal to us that they need it. A question that I get a lot. How do I know when I need a pause? So the body usually knows before the mind does. So our minds can be very distracted, but our bodies are always here in the now, and they might show us by, we can start to notice tension, shallow breathing, irritability, or fatigue, some small sign that our system has been carrying more than it needs to or is able to. So noticing these signals can prompt us to take a pause. So it's really about the noticing. So coming back to yourself when you just start to notice, like before you become too exhausted. This is really important to improve your well-being. So it's about tuning in, listening to what the body's telling you, noticing, recognizing there is a need to pause, allowing yourself to do that, bringing your system down long enough so that it is able to return to its own natural restorative rhythms. So this is it. Hope you enjoyed this question time. Thank you.